Hey guys, follow me on a day in the life of a flight school student preparing for an EOC. It's 4:20 in the morning. I'm definitely not a morning person, but I woke up early to backseat my friend's instrument training flight. At 4:45 a.m., I made it to school and got ready to backseat. While I'm backseating, I take notes, listen to the radio calls, and pay attention to everything the instructor is teaching. Whenever the instructor gives my friend an instruction, I try to imagine that I'm the student flying and think about what I would need to do in that situation. If you ever feel like you need some extra practice or just want to see everything come together, I definitely recommend backseating a flight. Next, it was time to organize my logbook and get everything ready for my 48-hour checklist. I made sure all of my flight hours and documents were in order. It's really important to stay organized before your EOC so you know everything is ready to go. Then it was time for some studying. I like studying by myself, but I also study with my friends. Having both styles of studying has been really helpful for me. Then I took a quick lunch break. After that, I tutored my friend. Every time I teach someone else, I end up reviewing everything myself too. So tutoring is actually another really good way for me to study. The next thing that I did was a mock EOC with a friend who had recently passed theirs. We went over a lot of things that I needed to know before my EOC, so it was really helpful to get the extra practice. Leslie, my instructor, and I completed my 48-hour checklist. It took about 2 hours because we needed to go through everything really carefully and make sure I was completely ready. And after all of that, it was finally time for me to take my instrument EOC. Before you guys find out how I did on my EOC, let's hear from Caleb with some tips in case you guys are preparing for your own instrument check ride.
Hey guys, my name is Caleb. I was Jisun's primary instructor for her instrument rating, in charge of preparing her for that EOC. I'd love to give some tips and tricks in case you are preparing for your instrument EOC. After you achieve your private pilot certificate, you feel like you're on top of the world. You just achieved this massive accomplishment. You've learned so much. Then you start your instrument rating and you feel like you know so much, and then you start digging into the TPP and the instrument flying handbook, and you realize that this is a whole new language that you don't know yet, and it's a lot of dense information. So Jisun specifically was very talented on the ground knowledge and studying. She really took that seriously from day one and spent the time studying with other students, memorizing these new procedures on her own. And she really identified, whenever we would talk about any weaknesses along the way, she would identify what she needed to do to solidify those weak areas and not make those same mistakes over and over again. Specifically for instrument, backseating is one of the best ways that the student has access to get past roadblocks. In backseating, it costs nothing to the student. You also get additional perspectives from other instructors. It's also really nice in the back seat, you're not having to fly the plane, so you can just focus on these new procedures that you're developing and these skills that you're building, and you get to watch another student make mistakes and you get to learn from those. Or you can take away things that student does really well and you haven't seen before, and you're like, oh, I want to add that to my tool belt. We also have access to a GPU session, a ground power unit session, which we're actually in the aircraft plugged into an external power connector. So we can turn on the avionics and they're gonna be fully functioning. And we can simulate loading in procedures, IFR flight plans, and just additional things that are allow the student to get comfortable with the actual G1000 avionics in the aircraft without learning that on the actual flight. And so we did that specifically with her in stage 3. In stage 3, we add on the IFR clearances, arrivals and departures, as well as lost comms. But specifically with the IFR clearance, it's really helpful to be able to practice loading that on the ground. And it's a ground session, so the plane's not running, but you still have full access to the actual G1000 avionics to practice loading that. So whenever you are flying, it's much more smooth and doesn't feel like you're learning it for the first time in the plane. All right, that's it for me. Let's toss it over to Jisun and see how her instrument EOC went.
I am now officially an instrument rated pilot. My EOC went well. I spent a lot of time backseating this rating and practicing the G1000 on the ground. I was definitely less nervous than my private EOC. Instrument training was a very important stepping stone in my growth as a pilot, and I don't think I will ever forget what I learned from it. It taught me not only how to study and prepare effectively, but also the attitude and mindset I need to have to continue developing as a pilot. I realized that there was always something new to learn and an opportunity to improve. Next up is the commercial rating, so subscribe to keep following my journey. Bye!